Welcome to Season 2 of Hey Emma, the podcast where a teen girl and her dad discuss the challenges and fundamentals of living a teenage life.
In Season 2, you'll find a plethora of new topics ranging from really serious to really uplifting and overall a really fun time.
So join us as we aspire to help many teens and their parents live a more fulfilling life. It's
Hey Emma. Hey Emma.
Hey Dad. In this episode, we will be talking about something that every family either enjoys or dreads: vacations.
So we took most of the summer off from recording Hey Emma to really just kind of recharge and come up with a plan for what Season 2 was going to look like. Now that we're back, the first topic that we chose to talk about was family vacations, because during that time, we took 2 family vacations. The first one, we spent a little bit over a week in Arkansas. Emma, what do you think? What did you think about that trip?
Well, at first, you would know because I was very hesitant to go on that trip because I had gone through the whole summer just not doing anything and just spending my days either watching TV or playing on my phone or doing whatever, or hanging out with friends.
Essentially doing nothing.
Yeah, basically. And so I was very surprised because he mentioned this less than a week before we actually left. So I was it took me by surprise so much that I was overwhelmed and I didn't want to go because I almost got into the routine of essentially doing nothing.
And that was a challenge for us because we had an opportunity to take this trip and it was relatively last minute. We had about a week and a half notice before we, were going to be leaving for this trip. It was a great opportunity because we were going to spend time with family. My parents were going to be there, my aunt and uncle, as well as my sister. So I was really excited to go on this trip.
Yeah, but I wasn't so sure because I was just getting out of that normal routine, and I had planned just at the beginning of the summer that I did not want to go on vacation anywhere. I don't know why, but it was just something that I wanted to do. I wanted to be more laid back this summer to get away from school and all of the stress. So it took me by surprise, definitely. And I was back and forth on wanting to go on vacation until the last minute. And then when I ended up going, and I must say I really did enjoy it. Took me by surprise, but I enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to. There were some parts where I wish I hadn't gone or I didn't want to do because there were some complications, but overall I did enjoy going. And
well, I think it's important that you talk about these complications. I think people need to know what the complications were.
Well, one of the things that was a complication was I got in a fight with my sister, and so she got really upset and I got really upset, and it was right before we were about to leave to go to this fun park that had all these cool things you could do there. And so I essentially did not want to go because I was so upset and I did not want to be around her. So I didn't know how to handle that because I didn't want to go because I didn't want anyone to see me upset. I didn't want to burst out crying.
But everybody knew you were crying anyway. You had already burst out crying.
I know. But then I ended up going, and I enjoyed it, but it wasn't there wasn't as many things to do there as I wanted to do because there was this overhead thing that you could climb. It was like a ropes course.
A ropes course, yeah.
And
indoor.
I did not want to do that. So I was...
And you weren't... Nobody made you do it.
Yeah. Well, they kept asking, but a lot of the time... we did go bowling, which I sort of enjoy bowling, but... So, overall it was a very good trip, but that day it wasn't the best for me.
So, out of all the activities that place had, what activities would you have wanted to do that we didn't do?
The laser tag. That's
right. You did mention that you wanted to do that, and we were kind of running out of time.
Yeah, but, that's okay, because we still got to... the bowling wasn't bad. I didn't have the bumpers like I usually do, but, it wasn't as...
Because you're such a good bowler.
Yeah, no. But I didn't do as bad as I thought, and I just generally don't like bowling because I've had negative experiences with it. So.
How can you have a negative experience bowling?
Because I never enjoy it. I always end up having a bad time, or I get overcorrected so much that I just shut down or whatever. So, but we're not here to talk about bowling.
No, we're not.
Save that for another time.
So, and then the second trip, we ended up taking a small weekend trip to Green Bay, Wisconsin, where we got to visit with family again. Because we when we take trips anymore, it's generally to visit family, because that we don't get to see them that often. So, what were your thoughts about that trip to Green Bay?
Well, I mean, I enjoyed it. I didn't know what we were going to be doing. I thought the whole time we were just going to be working on, because we went there to go work on TVs for our great aunts or something, and an uncle. So I thought we were just going to be doing that the whole time. But when we ended up doing other things, like I'm on a roller coaster for the first time, so that I thought that was cool, even though I was underwhelmed by the experience. I thought it was a 30-minute wait for a 30-second ride.
So you were underwhelmed.
Yeah.
But what about the ride itself?
The ride, I mean, I was very scared the whole time. I thought it was kind of exhilarating, but I mean, in my opinion, it just wasn't worth the wait. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Would you ride a roller coaster again if you didn't have to wait 30 minutes?
Well, I find that hard to believe that you wouldn't have to wait 30 minutes, but I might.
Okay.
I don't know. But I did enjoy that vacation because we got to go to an amusement park, and we stayed at a really nice hotel, and I didn't get a chance to go swimming as much because we always have to go to a hotel with a pool. That's one of our requirements when we go to a hotel. So we went to this hotel with a pool, but I mean, I went into the hot tub for a little bit, and it was just...
I think it's funny that you girls have really come to expect a pool at the hotel, whether we have time to swim or not, to the point where I think it's almost like you think a pool or a hotel is just a pool that has beds for when you're tired of swimming. But you're right, we tend to find hotels that have pools.
I think it's definitely something that we always look forward to. I don't know why necessarily, because the past couple times we haven't been in it as much. I think as long as we have a pool, maybe that's like the standards that we have. It's just that and free breakfast, because
I think it's important to have a pool, because then you have downtime that you enjoy, and it's that if every hotel we go to has a pool, then you're a little bit more okay with throwing your routine off by knowing that there's going to be some fun time in the pool, enjoying yourself and just relaxing.
Yeah. And I think it's cool how we always enjoy going in the pool, even if it's really cold.
I don't go into really cold water.
Yeah, but like the girls, we always enjoy going in there, even if it's really cold, because we find some way to make it fun. So
what are some other ways we can ensure that you have a really good time when you're on vacation?
I mean, I usually do have a good time on vacation, no matter what we're doing. I think just making sure that we stay busy, but also have some days that we have some downtime, because I really like doing the really fun things like going to an amusement park or to the beach or something like that, but I also want some downtime to watch TV or catch up with things on my phone, because I liked how when we went to Arkansas, we had a couple of chances to do that when you guys were just talking in the living room. So I think it was good dynamics of like doing something fun and then also getting some downtime too.
So little TV time, little pool time.
Yeah.
And some activities. But they have to be activities that you're going to enjoy, not necessarily activities that the adults are going to enjoy.
Yeah.
So what type of activities would those be? Like you said, the amusement park, definitely.
Yes, I really like the amusement park, but I don't necessarily like amusement parks with rides. Like maybe a water park would be kind of cool, except I don't like anything squirting out at me. So
you're kind of picky.
Yeah, I like it. Water parks though, and I like going to the beach. And some amusement parks I would like if they had like some cool things to do there, like games and stuff. But maybe not so many rides. But I do like some rides that like the twisty ones and the ones that are really like you feel like you throw up on. But
yeah,
I think doing those, and also like going out for dinner every once in a while, because that would be. I think that's just fun in itself, because you get to eat food that's not cooked, or that's not
cooked.
That you don't have to cook. So
definitely adds to the adventure, having a good time doing that.
Yeah.
So most of these trips that we took, well, actually, both of the trips that we took over the summer were in the car. Going to Arkansas, obviously, was a 14-hour trip in the car, which is painful in itself. But what do you do to keep entertained in the car?
Most of the time, I just sleep. Like, I would...
That's just boring.
I know, but I sleep, and it really helps me pass the time. My grandma thinks that I have motion sickness because I sleep in the car a lot, but I think it just helps me pass the time. And I really enjoy listening to music, especially music that I like, so then I can sing along to the songs and I won't be bored listening to it. So definitely listening to music and sleeping. And there's this game that we play in the car sometimes, where it's a questions game where we go around and ask everyone in the family, like, what's your favorite food, or your favorite color, or favorite movie, or something like that. We usually know our answers by now, but we still just do that to pass the time. So just fun car games. And the last trip that we took, we played a game where we had the license plate game or the signs game, where we had to find a certain letter in each of the license plates or the signs. And then we went into numbers too. So I think just little
keeping
games
you occupied.
Yeah.
Different ways to keep you entertained. But sleeping, you sleep in the car an awful lot. You and your mom both do that.
Yeah.
It's just, I think it's a boring way to ride, because I guess I'm more of a visual person. I really enjoy seeing the scenery and looking at the sights. And, as we're driving along, granted, when you're driving through Illinois, it's cornfields and soybean fields, so that's kind of boring.
Yeah.
But then every now and then you see, the solar farms and the wind farms and the different things, like the giant cross along the road. And there's just all these different sights that you'd miss if you're sleeping.
I really enjoy looking outside the window too. Like, when I'm listening to music, all I do is look out the window and watch the cars and the scenery go by. But because I do that a lot. I always like the window seat when I'm in a bus, because I just look out the window and I can look out the windshield and the window at the same time, and it's kind of cool. So I am a very visual person too. It's just I prefer sleeping because it helps pass the time easier without having to do anything.
Now, what about during these driving trips? Like I mentioned, the 14-hour trip to Arkansas, we stopped overnight, roughly a little more than halfway through. It was quite a bit. Anyway, we stopped. What are your thoughts about stopping versus driving straight through if we were to shoot for driving all 14 hours in one day?
I think it's definitely better to stop, because I don't have to stop a lot, because I can very good at sitting still for a while, because I've had to do that in school and sitting for many minutes in a row. But I still think it is much better to stop than go the whole way, because you get tired of being in the car after a while, and I don't like being so close in one space for a really long time. So because my legs would get tired and I would get tired, and seeing the same scenery, which is the car, over and over again, and I think it's just better to go in the hotel, because you get to get that energy again, but being around other people besides just your family. So I think it's easier to stop.
Yep, I agree. I enjoy stopping myself. I know on this trip to Arkansas, we stopped numerous times along the road just because my back was cramping as we were driving. I'm not sure why. I think it was because we were driving Mom's car and it's incredibly uncomfortable. That's what I blame it on anyway. We did stop a lot. I mean, we stopped at rest areas. We stopped and just played on the playgrounds a little bit and just got out and got the blood circulating. If Mom wasn't with us, and Mom wasn't with us on this trip because she had to work, if Mom was with us, we probably wouldn't have stopped as much, because Mom isn't big into stopping. She would prefer to drive, at least drive straight through so we get to hit the hotel, as opposed to getting out and stretching the legs.
So, what has been your favorite vacation so far?
Out of all of them that we've taken?
Yes.
Washington, D.C. Wow. Definitely. When we went out there, we got to stay in the Crystal City area, and we got to take the train everywhere. We saw a ton of sights. We were able to be relatively relaxed. It was just a really, really pleasant trip. We ate at some really good restaurants. We figured out how to take their complicated underground rail system. We learned a lot on that. I mean, just a lot about our history.